are my most like aesthetically pleasing palettes I can hold up. Okay, wait. Maybe I got this out. Pausing for the thumbnail. Okay. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to the 9th day of Kitmas, I believe this is. I've been pre-filming, so I don't really know what day I'm supposed to be on, but I think it's the 9th day. As you can tell by the title, I'm going to be going over eyeshadows and pigments in this video. I was going to show you guys the actual eyeshadows that I keep in my makeup kit. Here's the thing though, I have repressed all of my eyeshadows inside of these and didn't end up labeling any of them. The only ones I for sure know what they are is all of my Cozette eyeshadows because those are single shadows that I just ended up keeping inside of their original packaging. These are the Cozette shadows that I have. These come from Camera Ready Cosmetics, or at least that's where I bought them from. So I have this one in the shade Wonder, then this one is in the shade Empower. As you can see, they're pretty dang close to each other. This one just has a tad bit more brown inside of it. And then I also bought two other eyeshadows, which apparently I looked online and I was like, oh my gosh, they're so different. Guys, they're almost exactly the same too. I bought the shade Soul, is this one, and it's Soul with an E. And then I have this one, which is in the shade Union. As you can see, like these two are pretty dang similar. This one's just a little bit lighter. And then the last one that I have is probably my most used one out of all the singles. And this is in the shade called Burnish. I'm going to show you the single ones for the shimmers really quickly. So I got this shade. This is in the shade Bliss. It's just a really pretty like champagne sort of tone. I don't know if you guys can tell, but look at how pretty that color is. It does have sparkles inside of it. I personally really like it, especially if I want to amplify a look just a little bit. And then this is the one that I use for inner corner highlights a lot of the times. And this is in the shade Mica. And then that is what that shade looks like. It's just like an icy white with like a lot of shimmer inside of it. Okay, so let me go on to Camera Ready Cosmetics website. So it looks like Cozette does have 3 different formulations of eyeshadows. So the first type is the Infinite Matte Eyeshadows, and those are $13. As the name states, they are all the matte eyeshadow formulation. They also do have the Infinite Velvet Eyeshadows, which I'm guessing are like a satin kind of finish. They're not completely matte, have a little bit of sheen to them, but they're not like as glittery as the ones that I swatched. And then the Infinite Crystal Eyeshadows, which are the 2 shimmer ones that I swatched for you guys. I've literally tried so many freaking single eyeshadows though, and I gotta tell you that these are the best quality eyeshadows that I've ever found. Again, they have minimal fallout, they blend out seamlessly. It's one of those eyeshadow formulas that you can literally just pick up with a brush, slap on really quickly, blend it out, and you don't have to spend a lot of effort just blending it to make sure that it looks okay. Like it just kind of blends itself out. Of course, I do understand that $13 and $14 a piece is like very steep for each of the eyeshadows. I totally get that. Cozette is a pro artist brand and it's on a pro artist website, meaning that you can get a professional makeup artist discount on them, which makes them a little bit cheaper. But if you guys really want to invest in super high quality makeup, then I definitely would check out the Cozette eyeshadow singles because they are seriously the best. Then the other eyeshadow singles that I wanted to give an honorable mention to, and these ones I do not have depotted just because they come in like their own little singles, is the Urban Decay eyeshadows. One of them is the 24/7 eyeshadows, and they are all in these clear containers, which Urban Decay did repackage, and I really like the aesthetic of these. I have the shade Sin. Seriously, one of like my favorite freaking shades to use on somebody. It's just like a nice like champagne / rose gold kind of color, I would say. And it almost gives like a sheen to the skin, like almost kind of like a wet like glaze if you can't tell. And then I also do have 2 of the Moon Dust formulations. They definitely do have like chunks of glitter inside of them. And I did use this eyeshadow shade, which is called Cosmic, on the center of my lids. It just speaks for itself. Like, look at that. This is probably my favorite of the Moon Dust shadows just because it's basically like Sin, but like amped up a little bit. And this is in the shade Space Cowboy. Look at how pretty that is. The thing that I like about the Moon Dust shadows too is that they don't have like a color base underneath them. They have like a clear base and it's basically like a pressed shimmer. Look at how pretty that is. It's almost like a peachy champagne sort of glitter. And I believe they retail for like $20 or $21 a piece, I want to say. So a little bit more expensive than the Cozette ones, but I think you are paying for packaging. I want to show you guys really quickly the pigments that I have inside of my makeup kit because those are kind of like single sort of things before I move on to the palettes. I do keep all of my loose pigments inside of these jars. These are sample jars that I got off of Amazon. They're just like 3-gram jars, I believe. And then I took Gorilla Glue and just glued them all together. You guys can tell that I did it myself because like, look, this literally is so crooked. Unfortunately, I don't know if I can even find some of these pigments anymore. Anastasia used to carry pigments. These are what the Anastasia pigments look like and they last forever, guys. But in case they are still sold and I can find them, then I'll go ahead and link them for you guys. This is in the shade Sand. It's just a light like champagne sort of tone, and again, these are loose pigments, so they do have glitter inside of them, but they're not as chunky as the Moondust shadows. And then the shade Crystal is more of like a silvery white kind of color. That is what the Crystal shade looks like. So I have those two inside of here, and then I do have one limited edition matte color inside of here, so you guys can't get this except for like around the holiday times, I don't think. You might be able to get it now in like a gift set. Usually Matte comes out with a pigment gift set that has 4 like little minis, and English Gilt is usually one of them. I freaking wish they would like release this all the time because I love this color. The last one I have in this little stack here is in the shade Tan, and I do have the original jar for this one still. This is Tan up top, it's more of the rose gold, and then this is English Gilt, which is the bottom, which is more of a champagne. Since I can't tell you exactly in depth about which eyeshadows I actually have in the rest of my palette, I'm gonna tell you my favorites for the brands and also the specific palettes that I really would recommend for people, especially if you are a beginner makeup artist and just building your kit, or if you are a professional that's kind of looking to revamp your kit and looking for actual palettes instead of singles. So I'm gonna basically separate these out by budget-friendly options and then also ones that are a little bit more high-end. So let me go ahead and go on to the budget-friendly ones first. This is probably my #1 top pick. I would say that this formulation is the most comparable to the Cozette shadows that I mentioned. This is the Juvia's Place brand. It is so freaking good for the price of it, guys. This is the Warrior 2 by Juvia's Place. The whole reason for me picking up this one specifically is because I wanted a whole bunch of matte neutral shades. So there is 9 shadows all together in here, as you guys can see. Guys, do you know how hard it is for brands to formulate actual black colors? They don't turn purple, they don't turn gray, like this one's black. I just love the versatility of this palette. I have not tried their shimmer shadows from this range, but I'm guessing they're just as good as the mattes, because like any brand that can formulate mattes really well can obviously formulate shimmers really well. And then I just want to quickly look onto Ulta's website. So the Warrior 2 palette does retail for $20. The most expensive palette that Juvia's Place has is $25. Like, how crazy is that? Okay, and then another affordable eyeshadow palette that I found while doing my drugstore dupes for like the high-end favorites makeup video. Seriously found such a good formulation for a very inexpensive price, and I'm talking like very inexpensive. And they are all of the Makeup Revolution palettes. This is the Velvet Rose palette, and this was my dupe for the Anastasia Soft Glam palette. This one was honestly a shock to me. I was not expecting it to be that good when I bought it for the dupes video. Now, the only gripe that I have with it is it does have a lot of fallout. You can obviously tell a whole bunch of these eyeshadows have cracked and everything. The price of it, I was not complaining, is insane. This thing is only $8, but this one is so good. Like, they do really well with their shimmers, they do really well at their mattes. That's one of the shimmers and that's one of the mattes. It's such a good pigmentation. Yeah, if you guys are looking for a very inexpensive and very beginner friendly palette, I definitely would pick up this. And then there is 2 other eyeshadow palettes from the same brand that I just bought recently because I really wanted to try these out. Created this whole entire eyeshadow look that I have, and this is from Beauty Bay. Very affordable for like eyeshadow palettes. So of course I had to pick up a neutrals palette because I'm a neutral gal, you know. It's a 16 color neutral palette. So you basically have like all of your neutral tone mattes right up here, and then the darker ones are here, and then this black one here. The black isn't as black as I would like it. Like the Juvia's Place one definitely tops like all of the blacks that I found so far. But it definitely is pretty black. I just had to layer it up just slightly on my eyes to get it to the pigmentation that I wanted it to be. And all of these shimmers, as you guys can tell, are a combination of like rose gold, mauve. So yeah, I love the coloration and the tones of these. When I saw this online, I was like, ooh, that looks like a Julie palette. I have to have this. Guys, it did not disappoint. Like, I am so impressed with these. That is what they look like. And guys, you're gonna die. This thing is only $13. Like, it's very affordable for what you're actually getting inside of here. And recently, for some reason, I've kind of been gravitating more toward like colorful looks, and I'm not sure why, but this spoke to my soul. So this is a colorful eyeshadow palette. It's in collaboration with Jade Thirwall, I think that's how you pronounce it. She's one of the girls in the singing group Little Mix, if you guys have ever heard of them. I would totally play you guys one of their songs, but I think I'm gonna get copyrighted. I don't know if it's just because of the way it's laid out, or the colors, or what's going on in here, but this is just exciting. Now, I will warn you guys, these are kind of more on the powdery side, just in general with like their formulation, but come on, like look at that. Okay guys, I think you're gonna hate me. I don't think they have it on here anymore. Okay, I did find an alternative though. This is the Bright 2.0 42 color eyeshadow palette. Can you believe that it's only $25? Like, you get 42 colors for $25. Just the price ranges on these things are honestly unbelievable. There is obviously the smaller 16 color palettes. There's even smaller palettes than that. I think they might have like 9 color eyeshadow palettes too that you can check out. I just think those are really great options. So definitely check out Beauty Bay if you guys want really great options. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and go on to the high-end palettes here. I do have a Be Perfect Cosmetics palette. This is a limited edition one that was created with a Sydney-based makeup artist, I believe. Her name is Makeup by Jaw. As you can tell, this is where I got some of my eyeshadows from in my palette because I had to depot these and then repress them. Really freaking like the formulation of these. Like, they don't really have as much fallout, and then they just swatch really freaking nice. This is what they look like. Look at how pretty that is. Let me go ahead and actually look them up before I give you guys like the wrong price. They're known for their Carnival palettes. They have like tons of collaborations with Stacey and Marie, who's a makeup artist. Okay, so I wouldn't say these are super affordable. Kind of just depends, I guess, what you guys pick. Like there's 9-pan palettes in here for like $19.95. However, the bigger ones like this kind of range in the $45-$50 ranges. So it kind of just depends. So I guess it'd be like a middle of the road kind of range, I want to say. So I would go ahead and check out Be Perfect's website. So I'm gonna go ahead and just mention all my freaking Anastasia palettes. So I have 3 different ones that I specifically like and would put on clients. I do kind of use the Sultry palette every once in a while on clients and on myself, but that's like the only one that I will kind of switch back and forth with. I don't know if this is actually still sold, but the Sultry palette is my only like true cool toned eyeshadow palette, but it kind of has the same colors as that Beauty Bay palette that I have. Although I think the formulation on the Anastasia palettes are better. I did figure out that the Sultry palette is discontinued, but there are a lot of other great options out there as far as eyeshadow palettes within the same color range. They're another one of those formulations, kind of like Juvia's Place, that kind of just blends themselves out. Although you do really have to be careful because some of the Anastasia palettes are not made with mica in the ingredients. They're made with talc, and in that case, they're kind of a little bit more powdery. The next ones I know for sure that you can get because they'd probably be dumb not to sell these guys. First one is the Soft Glam palette. Literally almost looks the same as the Makeup Revolution one. But yeah, all the coloration formulas are seriously almost freaking the same. Like, look at this. Isn't that crazy? I think that Anastasia also came out with mini versions of the Soft Glam palette too, so you guys could also pick that up if you're looking for high-end shadows but trying not to splurge. Because I think these things are like maybe like $42 to $45, I want to say. I forget how much these actually are now. I know they went up in price, like everything else in the world. Then of course we can't go through this whole entire video without mentioning the Modern Renaissance palette. I did break one shadow, I'm not gonna lie. I dropped it one time and there's a brighter pink shadow right here that was called Love Letter that totally dropped out of there. It's more of a rose gold like kind of color. I don't get a lot of use out of this one, even though it's been everybody's like cult favorite, but I like the Soft Glam one a little bit better. And then another honorable mention that I have to have is the Patrick Ta, and this is the Major Dimension eyeshadow palette. This is the first one, not the second one, which is the rose gold one. As I said, I like my warmer kind of bronze tones, so this one I will gravitate toward a little bit more. There is 2 creams on the outside of here, and there's a little protector so the creams don't mix with the powder. Almost the same formulation as the Juvia's Place matte palette. Like, it doesn't have a lot of fallout. They're not super hard pressed at the fact that you can't get a lot of pigmentation out of there, but they aren't like chalky either. So I really like the formulation of those. Another thing I have to mention is the Nabla Cosmetics eyeshadow palettes. Such a freaking incredible color pigmentation to it. And I don't understand why people don't gravitate toward this more often or don't know about it, but it's like an indie brand that's sold at Ulta. A lot of these are not like super neutral. I think there's only one. Okay, it's called the Side by Side palette. It's just a bunch of neutral eyeshadow colors. Like, those are all the colors. These ones are, of course, a little bit pricier. They're $39. This one I have is the Secret palette, and I just liked it for the color story of it, so that's why I got it. But if you guys are looking for a really solid eyeshadow formula on clients, then I definitely would pick this up. Again, I don't know why. I just like look at palettes sometimes and the color stories just speak to me. But I've been freaking loving using this Midnight Blue shade as like a halo eye. I've seriously been using this black, which is so black, by the way. Really nice palette with like pops of color inside of it, and that's honestly what I've been kind of gravitating toward a little bit more. I can't go through this whole entire video without mentioning some pro artist eyeshadow brands. I get these off of Camera Ready Cosmetics, and these are probably the most expensive palettes that I will mention in this whole thing. These are all of the Viseart eyeshadow palettes. You definitely know which brands were developed by makeup artists themselves because they try to make them as compact and as like thin as possible. The newer packaging, you can put your finger like right in here and the pans just like come out of here. I do have this one, which is the Dark Mattes palette, and then I have the Neutral Matte. This is an older eyeshadow palette of theirs, and as you can tell, like, this one doesn't have the sides, and it's a little bit more of like a bulkier packaging as opposed to like the slim ones Then I also, of course, had to get a Brights eyeshadow palette because that's the only thing that I'm really missing. But this is the Editorial Brights palette. I freaking love this one. So pretty. It basically compensates everything because it has all your primary colors and then kind of shades within it. Create like any colorful eyeshadow look that you want with this. The only downside is that they're $80 a piece. So yeah, they're very expensive eyeshadow palettes. I kind of wish they were like more around the $60 range. That would kind of make sense to me. I do think they're a little bit overpriced. I'm not gonna lie. Like, you definitely can find any other eyeshadows that I mentioned for like a lower cost, and they are totally fine to use in your kit. But if you guys are looking to splurge, these guys are so good. That is honestly pretty much about it for this video. If you guys did stay all the way till this point, comment the word gingerbread. Also, go ahead and like this video for me. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you guys haven't already, and also don't forget to turn on your post notifications. I do have a ton of other exciting videos planned for the 25 days of Kitmas. As always, I hope you guys are having an absolutely fantastic day, and I will talk to you guys in my next video. All right, bye. Doesn't matter if the slow is far.